Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley Estes. I blog at themountainviewcottage.net where I share farmhouse-inspired DIY, decor, and organization videos. Welcome to my Introduction to Furniture Painting course. Today we are going to be diving into how to prepare furniture that has previously been painted to paint it once again. This dresser is the piece that we are going to be tackling. It has already been completely made over, but I'm going to show you what it looked like before it got to this point. All the steps that it took to prepare it so that it was ready to be repainted. This dresser in particular was painted in milk paint, a linen/creamy color. There was nothing wrong with it other than I'm updating my boys' room, so I wanted to update their dresser so that it would match. I knew that I needed to paint over it, so I kind of had the unique challenge of dealing with it already being painted. There are definitely a specific series of steps that you should take when you're painting over a piece of furniture that's already been painted. I will show you some of those tips and tricks, and I can also show you some of the problems that I ran into and how you can really easily jump right over those and overcome them. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Thank you so much for watching. Real quick before I start, I'm just going to show you how I've prepped my area. I've simply taken a plastic drop cloth, folded it in half, and secured it to my concrete patio using painter's tape. This is a really easy way to prep any space that you're painting in, but I prefer to paint outside because it's beautiful and it also helps the pieces dry faster, and it's well ventilated when I'm sanding and painting with fumes. Now I'm simply just going to remove the hardware, which makes it easier to paint and prep the piece of furniture. Another trick is to keep these all in a little Ziploc bag so that you don't lose them once you start painting, because they will kind of roll away and get lost in the shuffle once you start painting your piece. If you have a piece of furniture that needs the exact pieces of hardware to go back on it after you're done painting in the same spot, you can also just leave them in their own drawers. As you can see, the top of this dresser is pretty rough. There is a lot of places where the milk paint really distressed and chipped off more than I would have liked, and there's also some scratches and dings on it. So the best thing to do when you have a situation like this is to use a more coarse sanding pad, such as this medium 80 grit sanding pad, to really smooth and buff out those imperfections. And I'm really gonna probably just take off most of this layer of milk paint that's on here, just on the top. I'm not gonna do that for the entire dresser, but I'm gonna really buff off and smooth all of the imperfections off the top of this dresser. I have my sanding pad on the bottom of my orbital sander, and I'm really just gonna simply start sanding this piece. You're not gonna be able to hear me, but just make note that I will not be moving my sanding pad to and fro like this, because that can create divots and dents into your wood, and I don't want that to happen. I want to keep it nice and smooth and flat, so I'm going to do just that with my orbital sander. I'm now going to switch over to a finer sanding pad. This is extra fine 220 grit. That's just gonna really make the top of my dresser super smooth. As you can see, there's still some paint on it, but to the touch, it is smooth. Even though there's scratches all over it, you can't feel any of those scratches, and that is kind of how you test to make sure that you are ready for this final step, which is really just to make it extra smooth, not to buff out any more of the imperfections or take any more paint off of the top. I'm now officially done sanding the top. To prep the drawers, I'm actually going to use a foam sanding block instead of my orbital sander. As you can tell, this dresser is curved, so these drawers are also curved. This is usually not great for using your orbital sander on, because it can kind of mess up your wood piece. and it just doesn't work well because the area is curved. So I find that the best way to sand and prep an area like this is with a foam sanding block, and I really only need a light touch anyway because most of the surface of this is really smooth. So this is just gonna further prep the area for the paint. Good about the way that these drawers are feeling, but as you can see, there is a piece of wood right here that is kind of chipped off. So this piece is not the same consistency as this one. There is like a piece of wood chipped off. So to combat that, I'm simply going to use my orbital sander and make this area smooth and flush with this. Probably can't see very well in the video, but now this area is completely smooth and flush with the rest of the drawer, almost like the chip never happened. Since the sides of this dresser are nice and flat, I'm going to go ahead and sand those and prep them using my orbital sander and my medium grit sanding paper, which is 80 grit. Here is what my dresser side looks like once I've gone over with my coarser 80 grit sandpaper. The last thing I'm going to do to completely finish prepping this dresser is use my fine 220 grit sandpaper and really make the surface of this smooth. So now my dresser is completely finished sanding and it is ready to be painted minus one step. The only thing I have left to do is just go over it with a damp cloth and really get all of the dust particles off. You want to make sure that you do that, or some of that dust can seep into your paint and kind of make the color of your paint look funny. So make sure that you really give it a thorough cleaning once you're done with all of your sanding. As you can see, it was pretty simple to prep this piece of furniture, even though it had previously been painted, and we didn't have to use any harsh chemicals like stripping material, which is something I hate to use, so I will avoid it at all costs, but it is still a really effective method to properly prep your furniture to paint it. I will be painting this in a future video. You can see more on this series, an introduction to furniture painting. My videos go live every Thursday at 6 a.m. Mountain Standard Time here on my YouTube channel. I will also have an adjoining post on my blog that has a little more of the details written out for you and some of the products that I'm using in these videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you'll give this video a thumbs up and stick around with me for more of these videos in the future. Thank you so much.